The sun rose over the tranquil monastery, casting warm golden hues across the silent grounds. Disciples began their morning routines, sweeping leaves and preparing offerings. The air carried a soft aroma of incense mixed with the sweetness of blooming jasmine. Birds chirped harmoniously, their melodies blending with the faint sound of rustling bamboo. The Buddha sat under the ancient Bodhi tree, a serene smile gracing his face. His eyes were half closed, observing the interplay of light and shadow. A young disciple approached the Buddha with hesitance, his hands folded in deep reverence. The disciple's face bore traces of distress, eyes downcast and brows furrowed. He narrated the story of a young merchant, overcome by greed, who neglected his workers' welfare for fleeting riches. The workers revolted, and the merchant fell from grace. For no leader thrives by forsaking the trust of followers. The disciple bowed deeply before speaking, his voice trembling with unspoken sorrow. "Master, my heart feels heavy with sorrow, and I struggle to see goodness in my suffering," he confessed. The Buddha nodded with understanding, his expression unchanging but filled with empathy. "Tell me, what weighs upon your heart?" he asked with a patient tone. The disciple sat near the Buddha, inhaling deeply before recounting his struggles. He spoke of lost opportunities, misunderstandings with loved ones, and the weight of unmet expectations. "I see only shadows, Master. Gratitude feels like a distant and unreachable star," the disciple admitted. The Buddha listened intently, his presence embodying both stillness and compassion. After a pause, the Buddha gestured to a pond that lay nearby, its surface shimmering under the sunlight. "Observe the lotus flower resting upon the waters," the Buddha began, his voice carrying the depth of wisdom. The disciple turned to the pond and noticed the vibrant lotus flowers blooming above the muddy waters. "The lotus blooms in purity despite its roots being buried in the mud," the Buddha continued. "Life, like this pond, often has murkiness at its base, yet beauty rises above it." Disciples silently reflected on the Buddha's profound insights. "Personal branding begins with acceptance," he declared. The Buddha smiled softly, his eyes reflecting the serenity of the moment. "Indeed, young one," he affirmed, "gratitude is not separate from suffering but arises through its understanding." The disciple pondered this, his expression shifting from confusion to contemplation. "Does this mean I must embrace suffering to feel gratitude?" he asked, seeking further clarity. A disciple questioned, "Master, how does one reconcile failure with the aspiration to lead compassionately?" "Failures are stepping stones. They teach humility, allowing leaders to recalibrate intentions while aligning actions with shared purpose," Buddha replied. He narrated the tale of a potter whose shattered urn became an artistic masterpiece of resilience and creativity. Each struggle holds within it a lesson, a path to growth and resilience. The disciple lowered his gaze, his thoughts swirling like the ripples in the pond. "Master, my mind resists this truth, clinging to anger and despair," he confessed. The Buddha reached out and gently picked a fallen lotus petal from the ground. "Resistance is natural," he said, holding the petal delicately between his fingers. "Yet, just as this petal has fallen, resistance, too, will fade when you surrender to understanding," the Buddha spoke. The disciple watched as the Buddha released the petal, letting it float gently onto the pond. "How do I begin, Master? How do I cultivate gratitude amidst the shadows of my sorrow?" the disciple asked, his voice tinged with hope. The Buddha gestured for the disciple to close his eyes and listen to the sounds around them. The disciple obeyed, his breathing slowing as he focused on the symphony of nature. "Start by acknowledging what is present," the Buddha instructed, his voice guiding the disciple like a steady current. "Feel the earth beneath you, the breeze upon your skin, the rhythm of your breath," the Buddha said. The disciple immersed himself in the moment, the noise of his inner turmoil gradually subsiding. Gratitude begins with presence, the Buddha continued. For only in this moment can the heart open to receive. The disciple opened his eyes, a newfound stillness within his gaze. Master, I feel lighter, as if the shadows have lifted slightly, he said with a faint smile. The Buddha nodded, his hands resting upon his knees, radiating calmness. Gratitude is a practice, not an immediate transformation. It is like tending to a garden, the Buddha explained. The more you nurture it, the more it grows, even amidst rocky soil, he added. The disciple bowed deeply, his heart filled with a glimmer of hope. I will strive to see the lotus within the mud, to find beauty in adversity, the disciple vowed. The Buddha smiled once more, his presence exuding encouragement and peace. Remember, young one, the lotus does not bloom overnight, and neither will your gratitude, the Buddha reminded. But with patience and persistence, it will surely blossom, he concluded. The disciple rose, his steps lighter as he walked away to rejoin his fellow seekers. As the day unfolded, the young disciple reflected on the lotus, his sorrow beginning to transform into understanding. The Buddha remained under the Bodhi tree, his gaze fixed on the pond, his heart attuned to the timeless lessons of nature. The ripples of his teachings extended beyond the moment, reaching into the hearts of all who sought his wisdom. Another day. As the sun climbed above the horizon, the Buddha walked with his disciples along a forest path. The forest was alive with the sounds of chirping birds and the rustling leaves swaying in the breeze. The scent of damp earth and wildflowers filled the air, carrying with it a sense of renewal. The disciples followed the Buddha in silence, their feet pressing softly against the moss-covered ground. The path led them to a tree unlike any they had encountered before, gnarled and scarred. Its bark bore deep grooves, and broken branches hung precariously above, yet it stood tall and unyielding. The Buddha stopped and placed his hand upon the rough bark, his fingers tracing the marks with tenderness. A disciple asked, Master, can leadership truly flourish without acknowledging the threads that bind individuals to their collective? Buddha answered with conviction. Leadership detached from interconnectedness becomes fragmented, incapable of uniting or sustaining. He spoke of a ruler whose kingdom prospered only after he governed with empathy, recognizing the value in each subject. Its scars tell a tale of storms and trials, yet it stands steadfast and generous. The disciples exchanged glances, their curiosity piqued by the Buddha's words. Master, how can such a tree, with its brokenness, offer anything of value? A disciple asked. The Buddha turned to the disciple, his eyes serene yet piercing, carrying the weight of countless truths. Do you not see the shade it provides, the fruits it offers, and the shelter it grants to weary travelers? He replied, this tree embodies resilience, transforming its pain into purpose, and its suffering into service. A young disciple stepped forward, his voice trembling as he spoke. Master, I bear wounds in my heart that weigh me down. How can I find purpose in my pain? The Buddha gestured for the disciple to come closer, his demeanor gentle and inviting. Each scar you bear is a testament to your survival, the Buddha said, his tone imbued with compassion. Like this tree, your wounds hold the potential to teach, to heal, and to inspire others, the Buddha continued. The disciple knelt before the Buddha, his hands trembling as he struggled to process the words. But Master, my pain feels too great, and my scars too deep. How can I embrace them with gratitude? He asked. The Buddha reached down and picked up a fallen leaf from the ground. Its edges browned and withered. Gratitude does not deny the existence of pain, nor does it erase the scars left behind, the Buddha said. It transforms the way we see them, allowing us to find meaning and strength in what once caused us suffering. The disciples watched in silence as the Buddha held the leaf delicately, letting the wind carry it away. The tree does not reject the storms that scarred it, for they shaped its branches and roots, he said. In the same way, your pain shapes your path, and your scars hold wisdom that can guide others. The disciple looked up, his eyes brimming with tears, a glimmer of hope beginning to emerge within them. Master, how do I begin this journey of transformation? From pain to gratitude, and from scars to wisdom? He asked. The Buddha smiled softly, his presence radiating encouragement and peace. Begin by acknowledging your pain without judgment. As a part of your journey rather than its entirety, the Buddha replied. Sit with it, listen to its story, and seek the lessons it holds. For within it lies the seed of growth. The disciple nodded, his heart trembling with both fear and determination. Ready to take the first step, he shared the allegory of a potter shaping clay, balancing pressure and gentleness to create vessels both strong and delicate. Through reflection and mindfulness, leaders align intentions with action, harmonizing wisdom and compassion into cohesive guidance, Buddha said. So too must you root yourself in gratitude, drawing strength from the lessons beneath your suffering. Another disciple, inspired by the exchange, stepped forward and spoke. Master, are our scars meant to be shared, or should they remain hidden from the world? He asked. The Buddha turned to him, his gaze unwavering yet compassionate. Scars are not meant to be hidden, nor flaunted, but shared with intention and wisdom, he said. When shared with humility, they become bridges of connection, allowing others to see their own struggles mirrored in yours, the Buddha added. He narrated the story of a craftsman whose shattered sculpture became a mosaic more exquisite than its original form. The craftsman's failure birthed creativity, showing that setbacks can enhance wisdom and deepen compassion, Buddha said. The disciples reflected silently, their faces illuminated by moonlight as they absorbed the essence of Buddha's teachings. Buddha emphasized, balance requires humility, reminding leaders that perfection is unattainable, yet striving enriches the journey of leadership. Let us meditate upon our scars and the lessons they hold, allowing gratitude to take root within us, he said, as they closed their eyes and focused inward. The forest seemed to pause, enveloping them in a profound stillness. The Buddha guided their meditation, his voice like a steady rhythm anchoring their wandering thoughts. Breathe deeply, and with each breath, acknowledge the wounds you carry. Not with resistance but with acceptance, he said. Feel the weight of your scars and let it ground you, reminding you of your strength and resilience. The Buddha continued. Imagine each scar as a window, offering glimpses of the wisdom and growth it has gifted you, he said. Allow gratitude to flow through these windows, illuminating even the darkest corners of your heart. The disciples sat in silent reflection, their breaths synchronized with the gentle sway of the tree's branches above them. He gestured toward the stars above, their brilliance visible only because of the expansive darkness surrounding them. Leadership thrives in balance as the stars illuminate the sky, not through dominance, but through coexistence, Buddha said. The forest seemed to glow with a golden light, as if reflecting the newfound clarity within their souls. Master, I feel a lightness within me, as if a burden has been lifted, a disciple said, his voice filled with gratitude. Gratitude has this power, the Buddha replied, to transform pain into purpose and sorrow into strength. Carry this lesson with you, as the tree carries its scars, not as burdens but as symbols of resilience, he said. The disciples rose, their hearts filled with a quiet determination to walk the path of gratitude despite the trials they faced. The Buddha remained under the tree, his gaze resting on the horizon, his spirit attuned to the eternal truths of life. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video. Another day. As the gentle rays of dawn illuminated the village, the Buddha walked with his disciples into the bustling market. Villagers moved about with purpose, carrying baskets of rice, fruits, and vegetables, their voices merging into a chorus of life. The Buddha carried his begging bowl, his footsteps light yet steady, his presence radiating tranquility. The disciples followed behind, observing the exchanges of kindness and commerce around them, their hearts attentive to the moment. A woman approached the Buddha and placed a handful of rice into his bowl, her face lined with exhaustion yet kind. "Thank you," the Buddha said, his voice calm and filled with sincerity, his gaze meeting hers with profound gratitude. The woman nodded, her expression softening, before hurrying back to her stall, her burdens momentarily eased by the encounter. The disciples watched in silence, their own bowls held out, receiving offerings from the generous villagers. A young disciple, observing the modest portions in his bowl, turned to the Buddha with a furrowed brow. "Master, why do you express such gratitude for so little?" he asked, his voice tinged with confusion. The Buddha stopped and looked at the disciple, his eyes filled with understanding, yet unwavering in their depth. "Gratitude is not measured by the size of the offering but by the intent and effort behind it," he replied. "But Master, some give scraps, while others give plenty. How do we remain equally grateful?" the disciple questioned. The Buddha gestured toward a nearby well, its surface glimmering under the morning sun, inviting them to approach. "Consider this well," the Buddha said, his voice steady and resonant. "Though its depth varies, each drop of water sustains life equally." The disciple pondered the metaphor, his eyes fixed on the ripples forming in the well as the villagers drew water. "Master, are you saying the essence of gratitude lies in recognizing the value of what is offered, not its quantity?" he asked. "Know when to act swiftly, when to pause. Balance arises through wisdom." A merchant approached the Buddha, handing him a piece of stale bread, his expression a mix of shame and humility. "Forgive me, Master, for I can offer no better," the merchant said, bowing low, his voice heavy with regret. The Buddha accepted the bread with both hands, his demeanor gracious and composed. As he spoke, "Friend, your offering is not weighed by its freshness but by the kindness that prompted you to share it." The disciples bowed deeply, their hearts filled with gratitude. Buddha's words etched clarity into their minds. One of them spoke, his voice steady yet filled with curiosity. "Master, how do we cultivate gratitude when faced with emptiness? When there is nothing to receive?" The Buddha turned to the disciple, his gaze unwavering, and raised his empty bowl before them. "Even emptiness teaches us," the Buddha said, "for it reveals our dependency on others and the impermanence of all things." He gestured toward the villagers, each engrossed in their daily toil, their lives intertwined by invisible threads of effort and need. Gratitude does not seek abundance, but awareness. It sees the giver and the receiver as reflections of one another. The potter finished his work, unaware of his role as teacher. Buddha's gaze lingered, steady as the turning wheel. They came upon a beggar sitting by the roadside, his hand outstretched, his gaze filled with a mix of hope and despair. The Buddha knelt before the beggar, placing a portion of the rice he had received into the man's cupped hands. The disciples stood in silence, witnessing the exchange, their hearts swelling with a quiet sense of reverence. "Master, even though you have so little, you still choose to give. Why?" a disciple asked, his voice trembling with emotion. The Buddha rose and turned to the disciple, his eyes calm and steady, like the surface of a still lake. "To give, even when we have little, is the highest form of gratitude," the Buddha said, his voice unwavering. "In giving, we affirm the abundance that lies within, reminding ourselves of the fullness of the human spirit." The beggar looked at the Buddha, his eyes brimming with tears. His voice choked as he tried to express his thanks. "Master, how can I ever repay your kindness when I have nothing to offer in return?" he asked. "Without roots, strength crumbles, much like an identity without grounded values," Kashyapa noted. "Master, rootedness seems vital." The disciples watched as the beggar bowed deeply, his spirit uplifted. Before the Buddha continued his walk through the market, they followed closely, their bowls lighter yet their hearts fuller, their minds wrestling with the depth of the teachings. The Buddha paused before a group of children playing near the edge of the market, their laughter filling the air like a gentle melody. One of the children, noticing the Buddha, ran toward him and placed a small flower into his bowl, her face beaming with joy. "No, Rahula. Movement symbolizes adaptability. Rigidity invites collapse. Flexibility ensures survival. The bamboo grows in clusters," Buddha said. The Buddha rose, his gaze drifting toward the horizon, his expression serene yet contemplative. "Gratitude is seeing the infinite value in the finite, the profound within the ordinary," he replied. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the market, the Buddha and his disciples made their way back. The path wound through fields of ripened grain, their golden hues dancing in the gentle breeze. The Buddha stopped and turned to his disciples, his presence anchoring them amidst the vast expanse of the fields. "Let us pause here," the Buddha said, his voice steady yet inviting, "and reflect upon the day's teachings." The disciples sat in a circle around him, their hearts open, their minds eager to grasp the essence of gratitude. The Buddha spoke, his voice carrying the weight of timeless wisdom yet flowing effortlessly like a gentle stream. "Gratitude begins with presence, grows through understanding, and is fulfilled in giving," the Buddha said, his tone serene. "It is not bound by conditions or measured by abundance but thrives in the awareness of life's interconnectedness." "Bamboo stretches skyward," Buddha said. "Ambition motivates growth. It is to recognize every offering, whether grand or modest, as a reflection of kindness and effort." The sun dipped below the horizon, its golden light fading into a deep amber glow, enveloping the fields and the disciples in a sacred stillness. "Carry this practice with you," the Buddha concluded, "and let it transform your heart, illuminating even the darkest corners of your journey." The disciples bowed deeply, their spirits uplifted, their resolve to embody gratitude strengthened by the day's teachings. As they rose and began their walk back to the monastery, the fields seemed to whisper a silent benediction, their golden hues now softened by twilight. The Buddha walked at the front, his silhouette framed by the soft glow of the fading light, his steps steady and purposeful. The teachings of gratitude, imparted through simple moments and profound truths, lingered in the hearts of the disciples. The journey back was marked not by words but by an unspoken understanding, a shared commitment to the path illuminated by the Buddha's wisdom. Recognize growth's gradual nature. Forced transformation betrays authenticity. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.